Don't forget to breathe. Hi, I got a question that people wanted an answer to, so I'm going to address it. The question is about the idea that listening to near-death experience stories can give people a longing to go home. So I know a lot of people listen to near-death experience videos because they are feeling suicidal, and I think that they want to know what happens next, but then they end up feeling inspired and hopeful, and they decide to hang on to their life, because if all these people have these experiences where they go back to heaven and heaven says come back to earth, then they start to have some acceptance. But somebody reached out to me who is feeling more suicidal after initially feeling comforted by the near-death experience and now back to a state of kind of desperation. So this person wanted me to address, what do you do when you start to feel hopeless in your earth experience? And I can say to that question that I have a very strong belief that if you commit suicide, you just wake up in an alternate timeline. And of course, this is like not a one-size-fits-all. Somebody brought up the idea to me of being like really, really sick and at the end of life, and then intentionally kind of overdosing on pain medication. And you know, like, I don't think it's a one-size-fits-all. I will say though that if you still have lessons left to learn on earth, which I think all of us do, really, until the very, very end, that you will fracture off into another timeline. You'll wake up in an alternate reality where you had a suicide attempt instead of a suicide success. And you'll just have to start, you know, from the reset point. So if you think of Earth like a video game, it would be like if you lost a life and then your guy just kind of like blinks out and then goes to the checkpoint on that level of the game. And the thing about the Earth experience is that the obstacles really aren't that challenging. It's our thoughts that make the obstacles challenging. So you have a thought that, you know, you want to, like, that it's too hard. That's the story that you tell yourself. You keep telling yourself the story like, this is too hard, this is too hard. And so guess what? It becomes too hard. So instead, you just have the, you know, if you just start affirming different things, or you find help. There's people out there. Hi, I'm a person. I'm willing to help. Please reach out for help, for guidance, for support. Find a community. I cannot speak enough to 12-Step Fellowship. I just celebrated 5 years in recovery, and I think that I would never have been able to do that if I hadn't found people who were doing something similar. So, you know, if you're in the midst of spiritual awakening and you're having a hard time coming into awareness and you feel like nobody gets you, check out the International Association for Near-Death Studies. The acronym is IANS. You can go to IANS.org and click on groups and events. There's local groups, there's online groups. SpiritualAwakeningsinternational.org. That's another great resource if you're going through spiritual awakening. There's also a organization called ASIST. It's ACISTE. There's also a 12-Step Fellowship called Spiritual Emergence. It's like Spiritual Emergence 12-Step Fellowship. What else? I'm saying a lot. Anything in the chat? Let's see. Somebody said agree 100%, and thank you. My NDE made me want to go home for a long time. I'm assuming the rest of that sentence is a long time. Yeah, you know what? My NDE made me want to go home too. When I came back from my experience, once I realized what the experience was, I just thought that I was dead. I used to walk around just telling people, do you guys know that we're dead? Did you know that I'm dead, that you're dead, that we're all dead? Because I know that I'm dead. So if I'm dead, you must be dead too. And I just thought that I was walking around in some kind of hell or some kind of purgatory. I remember being in therapy, and the therapist said, you know, like, let's talk about radical acceptance. What's something that you have to radically accept? And I said, I radically accept that I am dead. And you know, then they were like, well, let's base that on, let's test it with some reality. You're talking, you're breathing. I'm like, but am I? How do you know? How do you know that I'm talking and breathing? This could all just be a figment of your imagination or my imagination. Anyway, so I thought that I just had to do recovery to get home. So every time I reached a milestone, I was like, okay, God, I made it to a week. I didn't use drugs. Good job, me, right? Okay, you coming to get me? And then I'd get no response, and then I'd make it to a month or 2 months. Okay, God, when are you coming? Don't forget about me down here. Still no response. Made it to a year clean. Made it to 2-3 years clean. Still no spaceship came to beam me back up to life. Back up to real life. And I realized that it wasn't about getting back to heaven. It was about bringing heaven here. So I get to do that every day now. Every day that I do an act of service, which, you know, like making a live is an act of service, hearting somebody's Instagram post is an act of service, smiling at a stranger on the street, holding a door open, giving a bottle of water to a homeless person, whatever. Act, you know, like purpose isn't rigid. It's not like, this is my purpose, this is what makes me happy. Just doing one kind thing for somebody, that can really make the earth experience a lot better. But if you're super weighed down and depressed, the best way to come out of the darkness, I can't stress it more, journal, find someone to talk to, find a coach, find a therapist, find somebody who will listen without, what's the word that I'm looking for? You know, like without judgment or like without motive. You know, like maybe you can't talk to your parent or your spouse about it because they're going to tell you just to shut up and just get on with it, like you have no choice, but somebody who will listen empathetically. I'm about to go share in a 12-step